Welcome to Wheels. We're here to empower, elevate, love, and strengthen you today. We hope that you enjoy our candid conversations and our life experiences as we grow doing life together. I'm Nishan McDonald, and my co-hosts today are Vicky Cathy, Kimberly Blanding, and we are joined by a special guest, Miss Toya Poplar. Toya is the author of Stop Right There, and she is also the founder of Dream, Plan, Create. So we want to welcome you to the show today, Toya, and we're going to jump right in. Today we're going to be having candid conversations about embracing sisterhood. We are over 40. We all have our childhood friendships that we know that we'll have forever, but we have had to embrace some new relationships and some new sisterhoods along the way. It's not always easy, so we want to talk about the journey to now, and we want to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of grown-up sisterhoods. What is the one thing that you've learned, let's say over the past year? Let's say think about 2017. What is the one thing that you've learned about sisterhood that can help you, a good thing, a bad thing, and an ugly thing, that can help you navigate through the relationships that you have established?
Well, I'll start. First of all, if I think over the last year, it would probably be, the good would be, I recognize that it's important to me to have people in my circle who are not just like me. The bad is that sometimes people who are not like me are kind of intimidating. So is it important for me to reach for those that are doing things that I want to do so that I can be pushed forward to do those things? Or is it important for me to be the head of my circle, or what is it they say, that you only go as far as your top 3 friends?
Okay.
So the ugly of that is that you really start to see your heart and how sometimes you can, I say intimidated, but it could be jealousy, it could be all kinds of ugly things inside of you that keep you from really embracing people who are doing big things. So for me, I think that's basically my good, bad, and ugly.
Okay. What about you, Vicky?
That's good. I don't know that I can pinpoint something from each of those areas, but I would say probably over the last year, with me kind of getting ready to transition to the next decade, in life and stuff, it just gives you a different perspective, from the past, and you just really realize how important relationships are. Pay attention to your relationships and your friendships, the ones that are important to you, that you value, and to make sure you nurture those. And so for me, one of the things is that I've been kind of reaching back a little bit more. I mean, this is probably the 3rd state technically that I've lived in, in my adulthood, and of course, you make friends along the way. Like, I've made new friends here. So say, like, if I wasn't living here in Huntsville like this time next year, I'd have to make sure I remember, the special people that, I've crossed paths with along that journey, and not to take those, for granted or forget. And then too, I guess I could maybe qualify this as the bad, but there's just so much kind of just the destruction and death and, things in the world today.
Yes.
You just don't know what tomorrow holds, and so you don't want to take it for granted. Like, oh yeah, I'm thinking about such and such. Oh, I'm praying for them. Oh, I'll call them tomorrow, or I'll call them next week. You don't want to put that kind of stuff off. You know what I mean? So to make sure you just reach out to people more frequently. Let them know they're important to you, that you're thinking about them, praying for them, that you love them. Tell people you love them as often as you can. And things like that. So that's just been kind of something for me for the last year or so that I've been kind of focusing on.
So what about you, Miss Toya?
Well, in terms of the good, I would have to say that I think self-care has been a really important component that I've implemented in the last year, as well as I just realized that if you don't love yourself well, you can't love your neighbor well.
Right.
And so when you are well loved, you love well. So I've been really focused on being preemptive against burnout, because I get burnout sometimes to the point where I don't even like me. So if I don't like me, I don't want to subject you to me. You know, if I'm tired of my crazy, I don't want you to have to carry my crazy for me. So that's one of the good things that I've learned, is how important it is to operate off of a full tank, whether that's rest, whether that is just health, you know, whether that is making sure that I have time in solitude, so that when I am engaging with others, I'm not seeking for something in man that can only be found in God. So that's been really good. I see growth and maturity there. But in terms of the bad, I would have to say that not everybody plays nice. And so there's a fine line between like collaboration and competition.
Wow.
And when you are a person who desires to play nice, and someone perceives you as competition, it can catch you off guard.
Right.
And it can make for mixed emotions, and good can be evil spoke of. And so I have been really just trying to figure out, how do you navigate in the meantime? How do you navigate when you don't know what someone's motives are? Trying not to judge a matter before it's time. Trying to not falsely accuse someone of something, you know, that they may not be doing.
Right.
But just learning how to not let the meantime be a mean time.
That
I
is,
like that.
Yes, that is so good. And I love the way that you all describe the places where you are right now. And I'm sure that some of our viewers will find themselves in your words at some place. I do want to go back to Vicky, when you were talking about, like, so you've been in a couple of different places, had to build new relationships, like moving to a new city, or even like starting on a new job, or moving into a new creative space. You know, you find that you may need a different circle, or you may, you know, just desire to reach out to develop new relationships, you know. And so it's not always easy. As Toya has pointed out to us, everybody doesn't play nice, but they're for various reasons, you know, like, we're all different. We all have different personalities and different perspectives, and sometimes we clash as women. But there are two. We have to know how to navigate through that. So we have to know things that are good for us, self-care, and things that are toxic, that it's okay to just let go and just pass through. So you all have managed to create some new friendships. These are new relationships. Like, we haven't known each other for a year, maybe. I think you guys have crossed paths, you know, before, but it's been about 2 or 3 years. But these are new relationships, and I consider you some of my dearest friends, like, that I can go to, confide in. It's safe. Everybody doesn't have a safe place. So let's talk a little bit about when it's new and you have great expectations for developing this relationship amongst women, and it goes south really quick. You know, whatever the reason is, maybe it's a difference in personality, maybe it's perspective, maybe it's just this person is hurt and they don't know how to receive from you. How do you navigate through that? Now, so what are the things that you've been able to do to know this is a place that I can nurture and we can grow together, even though we've had disagreement, or I'm good?
Could we kind of go back a little bit, because you said that we have these great expectations, and I kind of think everybody doesn't have great expectations about sisterhood and about sister circles.
Well, that's true.
So why is it that we have good expectations? And it's because of what we desire, you know, what we're looking for, what we want from it.
Yes.
But everybody doesn't expect that. So how did we get to that place where we know that there's value in this?
Which brings me to a very great point. Before we jump into that, I just want to read something that in doing a little research about sisterhoods and just relationships, I ran across a Soul Wisdom Sisterhood on the net. This is an organization, and one of the quotes on their website says, "Bringing women together creates a synergy of power nurturing, and visions of clarity for us when we gather. And I thought that was so neat, because if you're looking for that, if that's what's in your heart and if that's what you desire, that's of course what you're going to attract. Everybody is not looking for that. Some people have been hurt by that. I can't fool with sisters, I can't fool with women, and they get into that mindset. And so that's what their every encounter with women is. You know, so we can't get along, we can't do this. But if you're looking for this, which is what you're saying, this is kind of what you give off, the energy that you give off, and it's what you'll receive. So every once in a while you'll come across that, well, I just can't do women, you know. But how do you, you know, navigate through that? What are some of your experiences, Toya, you'd like to share with us?
Well, some of my encounters have been, first of all, my mindset is that if you don't have an expectation, you won't be disappointed. And so I like to be pleasantly surprised by the relationships that I have. If somebody is consistently inconsistent, then I feel like it's an opportunity for me to exercise grace and feel like they are revealing to me who they are. And if there's a person who has an expectation of me, to be honest, I start to get nervous, because I feel like it's inevitable that I'm going to let them down. So I have that kind of girl next door vibe, to where people meet me and 5 minutes later they feel like this is my long lost best friend, you know? And because
that presence of Toya,
Just for confirmation.
thank you. But that can be a lot of pressure, because I have very little margin to cultivate relationships. And when I do have those relationships that kind of just organically manifest, it is a mutual understanding that there's no expectation. So if we get to have lunch, or if we encounter each other in the grocery store and we talk for 25 minutes, it's like a win-win for both of us. But you wouldn't anticipate that we're going to have lunch every week and then we're going to have this 20-minute conversation every time that we encounter one another. And so
that becomes a little needy, a little too much work, you know.
Yes, and nobody wants to be the person who deliberately like lets someone down. But I try to give people glimpses of what my life, like how my life is kind of made up, you know. So if you call my voicemail, it literally says, "You have reached the world's worst voicemail checker."
Yes.
You know?
Let yourself off the hook.
Yeah. And so I don't want people having that pressure of thinking that, say for instance, I'm screening my calls, because I'm not, you know? And I think that if a person's mature enough to understand that I am present in your presence and I will love you well, and then there's no expectation, we're going to be good. But if there's a person who anticipates anything of me, I feel like I'm going to fail them miserably right away. And not that I intentionally do, but I try to the best of my ability to give them a glimpse of, maybe I can see you during this regimented time that exists, because I'm going to flake on you at any other point throughout the month if we try to engage. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense, and that is so good. And on that note, we're going to take just a brief break. We're going to come right back. We're going to have more conversation with the ladies talking about sisterhood and the importance of embracing it. Stay tuned.